Ava Carter, a woman who once took pride in leading her family's supermarket empire, never imagined that one day she would find herself lying motionless in a hospital bed, listening to the sound of machines replacing the rhythm of her own heartbeat. The faint afternoon light filtered through the white curtains, casting weak streaks of light onto the cold walls of the hospital room. Ava felt the sharp pain coursing through her body, the wounds from a severe accident constantly reminding her of life's fragility. Every attempt to move sent searing pain through her nerves, forcing her to remain still. Yet, what hurt more than her physical injuries was what she had just overheard. She opened her eyes, struggling to focus on the familiar figure standing in the corner of the room. It was Ethan, her husband of more than 4 decades. Ava had trusted him implicitly, considering him not just her partner in life but also her loyal ally in business. Yet now, there he stood, his back turned to her, holding his phone, his low but unmistakable voice cutting through the air like a blade. "We need to review the will. We can't let things slip out of control," Ethan said, his tone cold and sharp, so unfamiliar that Ava barely recognized him. She tried to speak, to call his name. "Ethan." The familiar name escaped her lips like a faint whisper, dissolving quickly into the stillness of the room. He didn't turn around. He continued speaking, each word striking her heart like a hammer. "We have to ensure everything is in our hands before it's too late." Ava froze, not only from the pain ravaging her body, but also from the chill in Ethan's words. Those words weren't about preparation or responsibility, they were calculated. Every word he uttered echoed in her mind, forming an unspoken indictment. She tried to listen closely, to absorb everything he said, but the shock and agony clouded her senses. "Ava, stay strong, stay alert," she reminded herself, turning her confusion into a flicker of resolve. A blurry memory of the accident clung to her thoughts. Why was she here? What had really happened? And why was Ethan, the man who had vowed to protect her and their family, talking about wills and control as if she no longer existed? She tried to muster her strength, but the growing doubt in her heart made her weaker. Something isn't right, she thought, closing her eyes to hide the hurt. The conversation she overheard wasn't just about preparing for the future. It carried a sense of calculation, perhaps even betrayal. Ava felt her own frailty could no longer be an excuse to accept her current predicament. She had to do something, but first she needed to uncover the truth. Amid the dim light and the monotonous sound of monitoring machines, Ava felt a profound shift within herself. She was no longer just a patient confined to a hospital bed. She was a woman who had built an empire from scratch. And now, she knew that to protect what she had worked so hard to create, she would have to fight, even if the pain threatened to drag her to the depths. Ava realized that this battle was only just beginning. After days of pretending to be weak and fragile, Ava Carter decided it was time to take action. The pain still lingered in her body, but her mind had never been sharper. Over the past few days, she had carefully observed Ethan. His sweet words, his seemingly caring hand-holding, now felt hollow. Ava no longer saw Ethan as the devoted husband she once knew, but as a man with cold, calculated plans. She knew she couldn't navigate this journey alone. Between visits from doctors, she gradually built trust with Riley, a young but deeply dedicated nurse. Riley always took the time to listen to Ava whenever he came to check on her condition. Initially hesitant, Riley was persuaded by the urgency in Ava's voice. "Riley, I need you," she said, her eyes filled with determination. "My husband, he's hiding something, and I need to know the truth." Riley, who had developed a knack for technology during his part-time jobs, began covertly monitoring Ethan's calls and messages. He discovered that Ethan had been in frequent contact with a financial lawyer while also exchanging messages with potential investors. But what shocked Ava the most were the calls Ethan made to an international corporation interested in buying out the entire Carter supermarket chain. Riley wasn't Ava's only ally. She also relied on Brooke Hamilton, a longtime employee who had worked for the Carter family for over a decade. Brooke wasn't just a skilled manager, but also someone who deeply understood the core values the Carter family had instilled in their business. When Ava asked Brooke to gather information, she didn't hesitate. Brooke quietly began speaking to employees across the supermarket chain. Each small story from her colleagues helped her piece together the bigger picture. She uncovered that Ethan had started reducing staff at certain branches, citing restructuring plans in preparation for an expansion. But as she delved deeper into the financial documents, Brooke uncovered suspicious expenses being funneled overseas under the guise of investments. Ethan doesn't just want to control the assets, Brooke whispered to Ava during a hospital visit. He's planning to sell the entire chain. If this happens, all the employees will lose their jobs, and the Carter family legacy will disappear. The pieces Riley and Brooke provided allowed Ava to gradually understand the truth. Ethan wasn't just trying to take control of the family's assets, he was scheming to sell the entire supermarket system for personal gain. This explained why he had always sought to exclude her from business decisions, even when she was healthy. Ava recalled the times Ethan had persuaded her that the company needed modernization, that smaller branches were unprofitable and needed to be liquidated. But now, those sweet words were meaningless. They weren't advice, but manipulation. Ava felt her heart ache, not just from her husband's betrayal, but also from the values her family had built over generations being at risk of destruction. I won't let him destroy everything, Ava thought to herself. But to confront Ethan, she needed a flawless plan. She didn't just want to stop him, she needed to expose him to everyone. Ava decided to keep the truth she had uncovered to herself for the time being. She continued to play the role of a weak and frail patient whenever Ethan visited. She carefully noted every word he said, every subtle expression he unintentionally revealed. With Riley's help, she hid a recording device under her pillow. Each time Ethan spoke about restructuring plans or securing the company's future, she secretly recorded the evidence. Meanwhile, Brooke began reaching out to key employees who had been with the Carter chain for years. She organized discreet meetings to inform them about Ethan's schemes. Brooke didn't just want to warn them, she wanted to build a team ready to support Ava when the time came for the final confrontation. One day, Ava received news from Riley that Ethan was planning a meeting with foreign investors at a major hotel in the city. This would be the perfect opportunity to gather concrete evidence, but it was also highly risky. If Ethan found out, he might do whatever it took to silence her. "Are you sure about this, Ava?" Riley asked, his voice full of concern. "We're dealing with a man who's willing to do anything for money." "I have no choice," Ava replied, her gaze unwavering. "I've spent too long blindly trusting him. Now is the time to take back what's mine." With Brooke's support, Ava secretly planted recording devices at the hotel where Ethan was meeting his partners. These devices would not only capture the content of the meeting, but also transmit it directly to Riley's phone to ensure everything was securely stored. Brooke posed as a server at the hotel to keep an eye on the situation, ready to alert Ava if anything unusual happened. The meeting between Ethan and his partners unfolded as expected. His cold and ambitious words were captured clearly. He discussed selling the entire supermarket chain at a high price, promising there would be no legal complications since Ava was hospitalized and incapable of objecting. When Ava listened to the recordings, she couldn't hold back her tears. But she wasn't crying from sorrow. She cried from relief. Finally, the truth was out in the open. She now had enough evidence to confront Ethan. Ava enlisted Riley and Brooke to support her during the final confrontation. She called for a large family meeting, inviting her lawyer and several close shareholders. Ethan, unaware that his schemes had been uncovered, entered the meeting room with his usual air of confidence. "Ava, you're feeling better, I see?" he asked, his fake smile plastered across his face. "Ethan," Ava responded, her voice calm but filled with resolve. "Today, we're going to talk about the truth." She pulled out the recording device and played the audio from the hotel meeting. The room fell silent as Ethan's words echoed through the speakers. His face turned pale, and the shareholders in the room were filled with outrage. "You didn't just betray me," Ava said, her voice trembling with emotion. "You betrayed this family and the values we built together." The confrontation ended with Ethan being stripped of all control over the company. He was left with no authority or stake in the Carter supermarket chain. With the help of her loyal team, including Brooke, Ava began rebuilding the company from the damage Ethan had caused. Though she knew the road ahead would be challenging, Ava felt immense pride in standing up for what was right. She not only saved the company, but also reclaimed her confidence and strength. Ava realized that strength doesn't always lie in physical capabilities, but in determination and spirit. Ethan's betrayal wasn't just a painful lesson, it was an opportunity for her to rise stronger than ever before. In the final confrontation, Ava entered the meeting room with a confident demeanor, though her body still bore the pain of her accident. The room was filled with familiar faces, family, loyal shareholders, and colleagues who had stood by her side for many years. All eyes were on Ava, but her focus was on one person, Ethan, the husband who had betrayed her. Before Ethan could speak, Ava pulled out a small recording device. She pressed play, and Ethan's calculated words from the investor meeting echoed through the room. Cold, emotionless statements revealing his plans to sell the company for personal gain. Ethan's face turned pale as he realized what was happening. He tried to interrupt Ava, but she didn't give him the chance. "Don't deny it, Ethan," Ava said, her tone calm but filled with authority. "Everyone here has heard it. You didn't just betray me, you betrayed this family, this company, and the hundreds of employees who have placed their trust in us." The shareholders began to murmur among themselves. Some expressed outright anger, while others were too shocked to react. Ethan attempted to justify his actions, but no one was willing to listen. Under immense pressure, he had no choice but to admit to his scheme. Ethan was forced to relinquish all control over the company and faced legal consequences for his misconduct. With Ethan removed, Ava immediately set to work rebuilding the company. She convened a full staff meeting, not only to apologize for letting things go so far, but also to share her vision for the future. She emphasized that the company would no longer just be a place of business, but a community where everyone was respected and valued. "I've learned a great lesson from this experience," Ava said, her voice filled with emotion. "Not everyone has good intentions, and sometimes the deepest wounds come from those we trust the most. But what matters is that we don't give up. I stand here today, not just to save the company, but to protect the values the Carter family has built." Ava's words were not just empty promises. She quickly implemented positive changes within the company. Employees were given more empowerment, support policies were improved, and a new charitable foundation was established to give back to the community. Every decision Ava made reflected her dedication and gratitude toward those who stood by her in her darkest moments. Ava's story is not just a tale of betrayal, but a testament to resilience and inner strength. She demonstrated that even when you are pushed to the brink, you can find the power within yourself to rise again. Her perseverance inspired everyone who felt defeated by circumstances. Ava also taught us that trust should never be blind. But even in the face of betrayal, the most important thing is not to let the pain strip you of hope and the ability to believe in others. Riley and Brooke were living proof of this. They stood by Ava when she needed them the most, and with their help, she overcame the challenge. At the end of her journey, Ava appeared in a video launching a new campaign for the Carter supermarkets. Standing before the camera with a confident smile and a determined gaze, she delivered a heartfelt message to her customers and employees. "I want to thank everyone for standing with me throughout this journey," Ava said. "The Carter supermarket chain will no longer just be a place to shop. We want it to become a community, a place where everyone, from our customers to our employees, feels valued and cared for. We are committed to continuous improvement, not just for profit, but for the values we hold dear." Ava ended the video with a radiant smile. "This is just the beginning of a new chapter, one that I hope to write with the support of all of you." Ava Carter's story is a testament to the power of determination, the importance of core values, and the ability to overcome adversity. If you feel inspired by her journey, join Ava in exploring more meaningful stories. Don't forget to subscribe to Life Stories 365 to follow more inspiring tales.